Stock markets in China have stabilized after massive amounts of government intervention, displaying the willingness to maintain this theater of fraud. Others have claimed that China's bubble has in fact burst, and that there is much fixing needed to bring the economy back into growing territory. The truth is that the stock market is simply not a good indicator of the health of an economy. Solutions are always provided by big government, and that is to turn over your sovereignty and allow unelected technocrats to rule your life. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. I want to get into China today, as well as discuss this. American officials express concern over the latest intelligence suggesting that Moscow is preparing to send hundreds of personnel to prop up the Assad regime. Well, we've already seen many preparations take place over the past couple of years. Russia and Syria are definitely partners. There is no denying that. But we have seen military cooperation, let's say, between Russia and Syria over these past couple of years, despite what the U.S. has said to them. They really don't care. It seems like they're just going ahead with it anyway. Russia is building a military base in Syria, and basically they're going ahead with it according to their plans. They're not going to back off. The anonymous officials say that Russia has set up an air traffic control tower and transported prefabricated housing units for up to 1,000 personnel to an airfield serving the Syrian port city. So they go on, and I'd like to just forward down here further into the article here as we look at this. The new U.S. details came in the week that Vladimir Putin gave his strongest admission yet that Russia was already providing some military and logistical support in Syria. So I'll read this quote for you here, pretty interesting. We are already, now this is Vladimir Putin saying this, we are already giving Syria quite serious help with equipment and training soldiers and with our weapons. So there he is, officially admitting that they are providing military type support. Now, can you necessarily hate on him for doing this? They are partners. They're doing what any other country would do for their own partners. Now, NATO certainly doesn't like this because this sort of gets in the way of their plans. They want to attack Syria. They want to destabilize the nation. That's the whole point of all of this. They are one of the few nations that have not necessarily been too nice to the U.S. They have decided to really partner up with Russia instead of partnering up with the Western nations, the U.S. And of course, what do? Just like any others, you try to make the nation impoverished. And if that doesn't work, or if that's taking too much time, then you begin to overthrow the government. They've been trying to do this for quite a while. They're using Al-Qaeda to overthrow the government in Syria. At least they're trying to do so. And this has been causing such chaos. The fleeing of all the people there, they're basically trying to seek some safer place to live while the nation is being bombarded by ISIL, Islamic State, whoever, and they're using it as a grounds to build up all of this terrorism. That's what's happening, using the U.S. funds, using their weapons, and their training. They're able to form armies, which is what's happening. It began as a rebel army and rebel forces, and now has become really an official military, the way that they're working and the kind of equipment that they have. Okay, I have to move on. That's not the topic of the video, but definitely wanted to cover it here because it is very important. We're going to look at this video out of Bloomberg. And the G20 basically met, and what they said was that the stock market bubble in the country here had burst. This is in what we're looking at is China, And this basically said another official present at the talks said that China had presented the country's situation as the new normal. This is how it always works. We see the chaos brewing and they say, don't worry, nothing to see here. It'll be under control. It wasn't enough. They may have tried to be constructive, but they weren't detailed enough. Now, you can get into the further details of the article. Basically, they're trying to suggest that yes, in fact, the bubble did burst. And if I'm not mistaken, it's 40% down. If you see a 40% decline in anything, that's called a crash as far as I'm concerned. Now look at this here as you see all the death crosses. For those who aren't too into all the technicals and all the charts, whenever you see a death cross, that means we could be headed into worse territory. If you want to see this chart for yourself, just to see it, I know the font might be a little small in the graphics here, so you can always look at this. The links will be in the description. As always, China is in big trouble at the moment, but they're not the only ones. Then we look at this out of Bloomberg as well. Professor Otmar Issing, he's the father of the euro, issued a warning against handing over control of the tax and spending before a democratic political union has been established. What's he talking about? That's the EMU. Let's look at this. The Euro's founding father has warned that Europe's latest plan for an EMU-wide finance ministry is dangerous, and it's an attempt to smuggle through a political union which breaches the basic tenets of a modern democracy. He said that basically the situation is dangerous. You don't want to transfer control over to these unelected technocrats. Well, obviously that's what the purpose of this is to bring the power into the hands of fewer and fewer people. It starts off as treaties, starts off as agreements that they sign and just says, look, we're going to do this trade and we're going to do it in such a way. Then next thing you know, you have an unelected set of technocrats dealing out all of the laws for that particular nation. And this is what's happened as you lose your sovereignty. The EU is really establishing a very terrible situation for the people within it. And essentially that's all I wanted to get to for this video. If you found this informative, please give me a thumbs up. Hopefully I'll be able to get some better internet in the next couple of days. Hope you have enjoyed these videos that I have brought out under my limited abilities at the moment, but we'll get you some better content soon. So I once again hope that you appreciate the videos. If you do, please give me a thumbs up. I'm receiving tons of comments. I've been very, very behind on the comments and on the emails, but have no fear. I will reply to as many as I possibly can. And last but not least, just wanted to tell you that if you like this type of video, then I know you'll like my other free content as well. You can actually check out the moneygps.com where I have free ebooks. I have my free e-course. The e-course is awesome because you can learn all of the basics if you're not too fluent in everything here, or you want to know what is a bail-in and what is a derivative and so on. You can check that out. It's all available at themoneygps.com. Take care.